Strife is a character that nobody expected to be included in Smash, but truly broke the limits of our imagination. Say what you will, he's not just another generic anime swordsman. In fact, plenty of his moves are taken right from his debut title, Final Fantasy VII, and even some from its various spin-offs. Let's waste no time and hop right in. Cloud's first appearance was part of a game with a turn-based combat system, and like most RPGs of that era, Cloud simply dashes over and swipes at his enemies. This animation is the same each time, and makes an appearance in Smash with his side tilt. When it comes to melee attacks though, the only time that Cloud's animation changes is when he's using a special move. In this case, they're his various limit breaks. In Final Fantasy VII, characters are able to build up their limit gauge every time that they take damage, and unleash powerful limit break techniques when it's full. Cloud has a similar system in Smash where his limit gauge fills as he takes and deals damage. When it's full, Cloud's body will glow with blue Mako energy, like how it does during his fight with Sephiroth in Advent Children. While this is active, all of Cloud's stats are slightly increased, and his special attacks are replaced with more powerful versions. But what exactly are his special attacks? Well, they're obviously his limit breaks from Final Fantasy VII. Come on, everybody knows that. It's kind of obvious, they told you in the direct. His neutral special is the third limit break, Blade Beam. This projectile attack can be used in the air, but is slightly more powerful when it's used on the ground. Its limit break incarnation turns the Blade Beam into a multi-hit attack with stronger launch power. His side special is the second limit break, Cross Slash. This lets Cloud swipe at a foe 3 times, forming kanji for the word Hyo. In English, this is kind of a catch-all for evil, bad luck, and misfortune. This attack is pretty deadly if you can land all the hits, but if the target is good with their shield, it leaves Cloud exposed. You can prevent this by using the limit break version of the move, which not only deals more damage and has more launching power, but it also only needs 1 hit to fully activate. Cloud's up special is his 4th limit break, the Climb Hazard. This is similar to Ike's up special in that he launches into the air and slams back down, but in order to execute that second hit, you need to input the command a second time. The limit break version of this move deals even more damage and sends Cloud up even higher, giving him an even better recovery. Finally, Cloud's down special is a little bit different because instead of activating a limit break, he can instead manually charge a limit gauge while striking the pose that he does before using the Climb Hazard in Final Fantasy VII. When the limit gauge is filled up, Cloud is no longer able to charge it. Instead, his down special becomes his second to last limit break, the Finishing Touch. What's cool about this move is that it only deals 1% damage, but makes up for it with some insanely high launch power. Now, while that might be it for Cloud's specials, a couple of his other limit breaks appear elsewhere in his moveset. For example, his very first limit break, Braver, is his forward aerial. And of course, Cloud's final smash is his final limit break, the mighty Omni Slash. This is the very same move that Cloud used to finish off Sephiroth in Final Fantasy VII, and is even accompanied by that classic text box from the very same game. So many of you guys might be wondering, well, Drake, if those are all of Cloud's limit breaks, then the video is done, right? I mean, what else could there possibly be? Well, my dear viewers, there's actually a lot more that we can dig into. As many of you guys already know, Super Smash Bros. Is not Cloud's first appearance in a fighting game. In fact, the Final Fantasy series has their own, in the form of Dissidia. Now, before you guys rage in the comments, yes, I'm aware that there's a new version of Dissidia out there, but at the time of this recording, it's an arcade game that's exclusive to Japan. Since I can't get my hands on that, I'll be using the next best thing, Dissidia 012. I apologize in advance if the arcade game has some moves that I missed out on. Cloud's aerial fang seems to closely resemble his back aerial, his defense pose is the same as his shield stance, and his double jump seems identical. Plus, this seems to be where Cloud gets his strange ability to glide across the ground when he dashes. Sure, it could be argued that this is reminiscent of how he moves when making a standard attack in Final Fantasy VII, though personally, I believe it more closely resembles the former. But if we dig further back into Cloud's history, you'll notice that even Dissidia was not the first fighting game that Cloud was in. Ladies and gentlemen, meet God Bless the Ring. It's sort of a wrestling slash boxing game that Cloud and some of his friends are in. Come on, Cloud, that's not fair. Don't bring a sword to a fist fight. Come on, no. How is this some regulation? Okay, if we're going to be entirely fair, Cloud doesn't do much with the Buster Sword in this game. Instead, he mostly relies on punches and kicks, which Smash Bros. Cloud has in spades. Do I think that these are the exact move origins? Of course not. But I think that they're close enough to be worth mentioning. Besides, this little slide kick thing is the closest thing that I could find to Cloud's down tilt. Still, wouldn't it be great if Cloud's throws were a little more like this? Or this? Best game of all time, 10 out of 10. Now, how about Crisis Core? It's a prequel that focuses on Cloud's friend Zack Fair, and since Cloud has all of Zack's memories and training, it makes sense to analyze what he can do. Believe it or not, a couple of his moves have pretty strong visual parallels to Cloud's in Smash. One such being his down aerial, which heavily resembles Zack's aerial attack. You could argue that it's a finishing blow of Cloud's Climb Hazard in Dissidia, however, I'm leaning more towards the first one. Cloud's grab animation even seems identical to Zack's movement when using a steel materia. There's also amazing attention attention to detail in some of Cloud's other tidbits, the most obvious of which are that a couple of his taunts are his spellcasting pose and his victory animation. Another blatant one is that you can dress Cloud in the outfit that he wore in Advent Children, but we'll go into more detail when we make the dedicated colors and costumes video in the future. Some of his other callbacks, though, aren't as obvious. For example, his dizzy animation resembles the pose that Cloud makes when having a flashback. You might have noticed that Cloud's strikes have a teal hue. This isn't just a random decision, it's actually a reference to the Mako energy that Cloud has inside of his body. Mako is the condensed energy of his planet's life stream, and Cloud was exposed to it in his past when he was experimented on. This is how he inherited those memories from Zack, and again, this is why his strikes in Smash exhibit this glow. That's about all we have. Now, some of these moves could appear in the upcoming Final Fantasy VII Remake, but it hasn't come out yet at the time of this recording, so we'll just have to wait and see. But if you want some more Smash goodness, then just click that little eye in the corner, and you can see our video on all 3 Links in the Smash Bros. Series. I mean, Link vs. Cloud happened in Death Battle, and that was the first segue that I could think of, so if you could click that, I would really appreciate it, because I think the videos don't suck too much. Maybe you'll think that too. Okay, I love you. Goodbye.